Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show where a man completely immersed in anime culture torments his co-host, who is only allowed to watch the shows featured here. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. Alongside over 100 hours of exclusive bonus material, all episodes uploaded to Patreon are completely ad-free, even to non-patrons. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And if you stare at the abyss long enough, you'll start to see your dark mommy.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Our audience is a lot of anime fans, man. You can't say that. They're going to start looking into dark abysses where they shouldn't.
And thus they shall find our lovely editor.
But Remington, how you feeling after last week's episode?
Look, riding high based on the past, not just one, but two episodes in a row in this year of sawdust and slop. It's crazy. It's unprecedented. Which, while, I'm riding high, I can't help but feel like Icarus. I'm feeling the warmth on my back, on my little wax wings. I'm worried that they're about to melt.
Well, Remington, I've got something. I don't know if you need to feel like Icarus yet.
Yeah.
But
Let's go higher, baby. Awesome.
But just as a refresher, your favorite things about the movie were like how human and natural it was, and like just the pureness of the story. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, some good Ghibli slice of life. It was great.
Yeah. Did you have any strong opinions on the cat aspect or the minimalist of the cat aspect?
Strungle Cat was great, and I think very relevant to the themes. The Baron, I guess, neat as a tool for inspiration and also tragic backstory for the old man. But otherwise, it's all about that Strungle Cat, baby.
Ah, I see. Well, Remington, I've got an interesting experience for you.
Okay.
Because remember last week when I talked about how some of the people who weren't a fan of this were upset that it wasn't as fantastical as other Ghibli films?
All right, we're getting fantastical.
We are getting fantastical. But with something that we've never seen before, a spin-off of a Ghibli movie.
Oh, interesting. Also, the time has... I don't mean to interrupt. Because the time has passed for this joke to be made. But I'm gonna make it anyway.
Yep.
Shaun loves to his balls in testicles.
So, Dylan, if you could just do an extra careful job editing this before you go on your vacation, that'd be great. That I would appreciate that quite a bit.
Our lovely editor, it's true, is about to go on vacation, and one of the last things he's gonna hear. One of the last things he hears before he goes on a lovely vacation is testicles.
Christ. But yeah, Rem, because this week we are going to be watching another Ghibli film, Ghibli film called Neko no Onegaeshi.
Cat.
Yes. Yeah, you know the Japanese word for cat. I'm so proud of you.
like a fucking 3-year-old. He said cat.
All right, so you got the Neko part. What about the no Ongaeshi?
Look, I think I got the important bit. All right, I think we all agree that Neko was the more important part of that.
And you would be right, because the English translation of this title is simply The Cat Returns.
All right, so here's the thing. I assume very strongly that it's talking about the Baron.
Yeah.
I hope it's talking about Moon, the Scrungle Cat.
Oh, God. Here's the theatrical poster.
Is that supposed to... All right, so you've shown me a poster.
It's a little pixely, yeah, but...
But it has a cat that has the same hair pattern as Moon, but is not the same colors.
To put it in perspective, Ram, this film came out about 7 years after Whisper of the Heart, because this is a Whisper of the Heart spinoff, if that wasn't clear.
Okay, so with talking about fantastical elements, this is going to be the movie that some people assumed Whisper of the Heart was going to be. That's my guess. They saw a little bit, like perhaps in the marketing and with the poster and cover, whatever, of Whisper in the Heart, they were like, a fancy Catman in the sky. And then it was just like a very mundane human story, and they were like, but where is my fancy Catman in the sky? And so now they were like, oh, I guess we should make Fancy Catman in the Sky.
And that is kind of the idea, because this movie and the previous movie, the only thing they really have in common is the cats.
Wait, you said the cats. Now, are you talking about just the Baron and his love, or are you all? Just be honest with me, Sean. Is our favorite scrunkly fuck in this movie?
He may look a little different, but
Oh,
Ronaldo
no.
Moon is in here.
Why does he look different? He was perfect.
Because
flawless.
Because the other thing is, Rem, this movie was not directed by Miyazaki. And it's an adaptation of, so this is weird, Rem, because this movie was originally conceived as a little 20-minute theme park attraction.
Oh no.
And then then the theme park was like, never mind. And then they're like, let's actually turn this into a proper story in animation. And then eventually it became a full length film, made by it's still by Studio Ghibli. It's just not it's not by the exact same group of people who made the first one. The producer is still the same. But Rem, we got cats, and not just the cats you're familiar with, but we get more cats and one human.
Okay.
Because Remington, if my description last week was a combination of shoujo, Cat in the Hat, and Alice in Wonderland, this one definitely drops the shoujo. And leans more into the other two things I mentioned.
Yeah.
The things that people would have been maybe a little more interested in. And
then instead of Country Road, just halfway through, I'm gonna be jump scared by live action Cat in the Hat. And it's gonna be...
Yeah, Mike Myers is gonna jump out and say, "Hello, it's me."
I might have a heart attack if just like you're watching a Ghibli film and halfway through you just turn it into sort of like some mixed media and Mike Myers shows up in a really, name your role, basically.
Yeah.
Just to take your fucking pick. They'd all be pretty astonishing.
It'd be pretty upsetting,
like Austin Powers, also shocking, also bewildering.
Shrek?
That would also Shrek would just Shrek me and throw. Holy shit, that would work so well. That's how you revitalize Shrek, because previously it was like, against this sort of like Disney-fied style, right? And he was rebelling against that. Throw him into a Ghibli film. Oh my god, that would be wild. That could work. It might be an abomination, but there's a chance that might actually work.
Is this the part where I tell you that unfortunately Disney controls the distribution of most Ghibli films?
Oh,
stateside.
All right, well, it's Disney. They can get Shrek too. They can get Shrek.
You're encouraging more mouse monopolies.
Look, man, if it gets me Shrek Ghibli, then I'll look the other way.
Or Shribli, if you will.
Yeah, the people want Shribli. All right, the people want Shribli. Hey, leave us some feedback. Comment on Spotify, send an email. If you're in the Discord, are you down with Shribli? All right, because I think we're on to gold here.
God, isn't it wild to think though that the Mike Myers Cat in the Hat came out and they still made Cats 2019 the way they did? Yeah, it's a wild turn of events. But alas, there is no Mike Myers jump scare. Not to be confused with a Michael Myers jump scare. Those are two different things. But Cat Returns, Rem. It is very different, but as it is very clearly emphasized, though the film is called The Cat Returns, you can watch this film having never seen Whisper of the Heart and not knowing a damn thing about it.
They really were just like, people really wanted a magical Catboy film.
Yeah.
Like that, it's 100% just a response to that.
Well, and ultimately that'll be up to you to figure out. But here's the general overview of the story. It's about our two main characters, of course, the Baron, and our main human for the story, Haru Yoshioka.
Okay.
She is incredibly bored with how life has been going.
Yep.
And then one day she accidentally saves Prince Luna, the prince of the Cat Kingdom.
Yes, of course.
Keeping in themes with the previous film.
Sure.
And essentially, because of her rescue, she's invited to the Cat Kingdom to potentially marry the prince.
Okay.
And she just accidentally accepts the proposal because she's not very good at the whole talking or communicating thing.
Okay.
So we're watching an accidental cat marriage film. A cat is fine too in this case, and the film revolves around Haru, her interactions with the cat world and the Baron, and trying to not marry a cat.
Yeah.
So it's got all the themes of what the previous film had for you.
Why? Okay. No, yeah, okay. All right, sure. No questions needed.
No, like I said, if you wanted more of the Alice in Wonderland vibes, here you go.
Oh man, remember when Alice was forced to marry the rabbit? That was crazy.
Look, man, with how some people are interpreting Alice in Wonderland these days, it wouldn't shock me. Though they'd the freaky ones would probably have her marry the Hatter instead.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know what the fuck to expect.
Hey,
I
Doc?
loved last week.
Yeah.
I'm worried that this may be everything I didn't want last week to be.
Well, we won't know until we get into it. All you do know is that there are great cats.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's go into the spin-off of Whisper of the Heart, Neko no Ongaeshi, or The Cat Returns. And we are back after watching the entirety of the 2002 animated film Neko no Onagaishi, or The Cat Returns. And Remington, were you happy to see The Cat return, or was this movie exactly what you didn't want to see in the previous film?
Hey, Shaun.
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Allow me, as I often do, to open with a tangent.
Ooh, wow, that's great for listener retention. That's gonna keep people.
As I often do in part 2, let me just open up with some irrelevant shit, and maybe we find our way back, maybe we get lost along the way,
Really banking on people not caring much about The Cat Returns, huh?
Hey, maybe it'll tie perfectly back in, all right?
I don't know. You're not a Josh Johnson type. I know that much. So we'll have to see if you've developed your style a little bit. But sure. What tangent do you want to go on, Rem?
So, Shaun, growing up in the 90s and early 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously prominent in media, I mean, since the fucking dawn of media, has been Disney bullshit, right?
Correct.
And of course, like when you're growing up, you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You're all in. And there'd always be a handful of like Disney movies that you'd be really into. And an interesting thing would happen when Disney movies would get a sequel, because sometimes it would be exactly what you expect, right? A nice sequel to your favorite Disney film. You'd be like, dope. And then other times, seemingly at random, especially in your little kid brain, it would like the animation would be off, the characters wouldn't look right, the story would feel a little bit clunky and off. But as a kid, you didn't know how to articulate this. And so it just kind of like, for some reason, some sequels are good, and then some are absolute trash on like an order of magnitude difference.
Interesting.
And who knows why? Because, we were young, we didn't know what like direct-to-video and direct-to-DVD were.
Yeah.
We didn't have that understanding then. So it was just a maelstrom of confusion.
Yeah.
Growing up in that time, and you'd get excited, but then you'd see it and you'd just be like, well, why? Why does sometimes it looks right, sometimes it doesn't look right?
Yeah, I mean, the one that clearly sticks out in my mind was the quote-unquote sequel to Aladdin, The Return of Jafar. Which was technically a sequel, yeah, but it was also a direct-to-video film made during the heat of a writer's strike that I found out when I was older. So, I can understand.
And it's like, you're not aware of any of these things when young, so you can't figure out why there's such disparity. Especially, most notably, the only thing you can meaningfully notice when you're young is like there's a big difference in visual quality.
Yeah.
That's the main hallmark, because you don't know what story is at that age. You don't know. You're just like, I don't know. That's just how it goes, I guess. But like it would just be visually, and it was just a weird thing that would often happen.
Rem, yeah, that is a very strange tangent, because like if we were talking about a sequel today, then that would be perfect. But we're not talking about a sequel today, Rem. We're talking.
Yeah, of course we're not.
Yeah. So why bring this up?
Well, it's kind of like, this feels a little bit like The Cat Returns of Jafar, where it's just, it's obviously, there's the connection there, but right away, visually speaking, it's obvious that that the quality is not quite up to the Studio Ghibli standard, we'll say. It's just not quite as polished. It looks much more generic. Any old anime can look like this, and it'll occasionally have a nice detail or two, but much less. So yeah, they just going in visually, that's very much the impression I got. We open up, and our main character, Haru, she wakes up. Oh no, she woke up late. She has to rush to get ready and everything. Then she's walking home with a friend who is not relevant at all. It seems like she's gonna be relevant. They put more care into the friend and like her character development in these opening scenes than they do most other characters we're gonna meet. But she is not at all relevant.
No.
Haru sees a cat with a little gift in its mouth, and it's going into the road, the cat waits. It's waiting at a crosswalk, right? It's basically like waiting, but it's not waiting for its turn to move. It's specifically, I guess, waiting to die.
As are we all.
Aren't we all? So it kindly waits, and then a big truck comes, and the cat starts moving, and Haru's like, oh, fuck! So Haru goes, saves the cat, scoops it up, right? And the cat then stands up, thanks Haru, was like, oh man, I really appreciate it. I'll find a way to thank you later. And Haru's like, what the fuck was that? Then Haru, does as any high schooler would do. It goes to her mom. It's like, hey mom, can cats talk? Which, look,
yeah,
it's not a question you want your teenage daughter to ask you, because then you have to wrestle with some truths that evidently you weren't aware of till then. It's like, oh man, we should have figured this out sooner. We got a dumbass kid. We got a real dumb child.
Yeah, you had at least a decade to figure that out. Yeah,
you should have figured it out.
Yeah.
And apparently Haru, when younger, talked to cats. There's a little flashback to giving some fish crackers to a cat, just like a little stray. And so then that night is a midnight cat parade. And it, I think, is supposed to be cute and whimsical. I think that's the vibe they're going for. That is not the vibe I felt.
So you're saying on a scale of like Disney parade to the parade in Paprika, where
we're at a place I don't want to be, frankly. So the cats, they're not just like, oh, look at all these charming cats. They're cats all with one uniform body shape. They all have the exact same body shape, and they're all standing on their hind legs walking and marching on. I don't like it. I don't like it. They don't look cute. They don't look friendly. They don't look fun. This is a creepy... These are fucking aliens who saw cats and were like, all right, yeah.
This is what people
can
like.
Replicate that shape. But didn't like see how cats moved or anything. And so they just like the aliens, they're bipedal, so they just walk on their two legs in their cat suit. That's what I'm fucking watching here. I don't like it. It's not cute. It's not whimsical. It makes me vaguely uncomfortable, if I'm being honest. The midnight cat parade that has the Cat King on it shows up to Haru's place. And as it turns out, the cat she saved was the prince, the king's son. So she's given a scroll and told that starting the next day, she'll be granted unlimited happiness. And sure enough, the next day, she gets cattails and catnip and mice, everything that would make a cat very happy, but obviously she's like, what the actual fuck?
I mean, yeah. Imagine if your cat Toby just hopped up on his hind legs and started sauntering towards you with an offer of like his food dish or something.
I'm not proud to say this. I would, in my search history that day would be cat exorcist, and I don't know. That's got to be a thing, but it's got to be like extra expensive, I imagine, because only people with insane amount of money are using cat exorcists. Like that's just that's not something you see for blue collar workers.
Yes, the blue collar podcaster.
Yes, that's like blue collar workers like us. Us manual labor, we're laboring, toiling away. Fun fact: every episode of the podcast, I record from I alternate. Half the time it's from within the factory where I'm doing hard labor. Other times it's from deep within the mines where I'm doing hard labor. And fortunately, Dylan is just really good at helping the audio out, so it doesn't sound totally fucked.
Yeah, every day he's sitting on some high beams and just shouting at women as they walk by.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, Cat's given a bunch of gifts. One cat shows up and is like, "Hey, isn't it great?" And Haru's like, no, it's not great, because I'm not a cat. So I don't really, that stuff ain't great. And so the cat's like, "Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. How about show up to the Kingdom of the Cats and you get to marry the prince." And Haru's like, "What the fuck? You see why that also wouldn't be very enticing, because I need to reaffirm I am not a cat, and thus not wildly interested in marrying a cat." And then a mysterious voice says to go to the cat business office. A mysterious voice from the ether tells Haru to do that. We learn later who this mysterious voice is, and I'm gonna level with you, Shaun. I don't really understand why or how, or just, I don't think this moment holds up to scrutiny. I don't think this moment makes sense, and I'm gonna level with you, Shaun. I don't think a lot of this plot makes any damn sense.
Interesting.
So, told to go to the cat business office. All right, goes to the cat business office, trying to find the way to cat business office. She sees a fat cat, and I immediately looked at him. I was like, "Oh fuck, is that supposed to be Moon? Is that supposed to be our boy from Whisper of the Heart? Oh no!" Because look, he's fatter, right? Which is fine. I can vibe with that. Fat cat, cute cat. He ain't scraggly at all. He ain't a scraggly asshole in the fucking least.
He's very smooth, isn't he?
Yeah, and I loved the scraggly, chubby asshole that was Moon in Whisper of the Heart. That was great. That was delightful. He's a smooth, fat barbarian. Like, that's, why? So she follows him and arrives at the cat business office, and the Baron is awoken. He starts out as a doll. I don't know why he starts out as, I guess just to make sure you see the connection between Whisper of the Heart, but he can just be a cat. I don't know. And he's like extra small too, because he started out as a figurine. I don't know, man. I don't know. So he gets awakened. There's like a raven. Raven not gonna be relevant until the very end.
Yeah.
It's not going to be relevant until they're like, "Oh, fuck, but what about the raven?" It goes have tea with the Baron, but then a bunch of cats show up, and they take Haru away. They kidnap her. And I guess it's you no longer have a say in the matter. You're getting married. It's no longer an offer, I guess. But why? Why is this happening? Why is she being kidnapped?
I mean, these things happen in cat culture, Rem. I don't think it's right for us to judge.
I think I'm still gonna judge. I think I'm still gonna be like, don't like that much at all. It just overall a weird moment. And then if I'm gonna be level with you, this is also our introduction to the Baron properly as a character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of bland. Like, he's a very vague gentleman. I wanted, because he's sort of like this gentleman cat, right? I wanted him to be, I don't know, a little bit more charismatic and mischievous. He's just plain and dapper. But like, who gives a fuck about that? It also took half an hour for us to meet him, which you could make that work if the rest of the movie was paced well, right, and well structured. Then perhaps I'd be like, yeah, it's okay that we saw him a third of the way in. But no, as we will see, the rest of it is structured like hot ass. It is awful. It is rough.
Yeah, it's almost like in Whispers of the Heart, the Baron being a representation for the main character's creativity and their views in the world, and kind of like an abstract concept made it a lot more interesting than just Dapper Catman.
Also, there's a weird moment. There's a weird moment when she's being kidnapped by the horde of cats, right? One second, I want to double check that I'm not crazy, because it genuinely doesn't, it didn't like mean anything or lead to anything, but the cats cats come in and they swarm Haru, right? And they start like tangling around her legs and I guess like capturing her. And then it cuts to a shot from, I guess, sort of like the Baron's point of view looking at this. And we see Haru struggling, but the cats are gone? All right, I have it pulled up. I'm double checking.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just...
Yep.
They're just gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, maybe they're at her feet, but then it pans down and they're still just gone. For some reason, in one shot,
yep.
the cats just disappear.
Well, I mean, that is kind of the way that's the way cats work, you know? Like
no, but they're still they're still there though. It's not that that's like, wow, a mysterious disappearance. They're still acting upon Haru. What? I'm looking at the fucking screen right now. No, yeah, at just before 32 minutes, there's just a shot where the cats disappear. Is that just an animation mistake? Or is it bad? I don't know if it's like poorly constructed from the onset or whether it was like they fucked up on the back end, right? Is this a poorly conceived shot? Or was this a fine shot that got fucked up? I don't know. But either way, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, 3140 for anybody who wants to fucking check my work. It's a weird moment. It's a weird moment. So they take Haru and there's some portals and stuff and the Baron and Moon who they default to Muda and the Raven are all following, and eventually they arrive at the Kingdom of Cats. And the Raven and the Baron, they get lost, but Muda is with Haru. And Haru now has shrunk because she's in the Kingdom of Cats, and she's gradually turning into a cat. A feminine cat says that she should run away, and basically like, hey, get the fuck out of here. And that doesn't amount to anything. I don't know if she had a plan. We'll later learn this is a very important cat who says to run away, but evidently the only way to do that is through the tower, through a labyrinth, through a tower. We don't learn any of these things yet, by the way. Those will all come. We're just told running away as if it's an option by someone who does know whether or not it's an option. Once again, we will later learn this is an important cat.
Very important cat.
But it's not an option. So why is she saying that? Why is she giving an ominous warning that she know cannot be applied? And it's also like, all right, so they decide let's go check out the castle and kingdom and everything. So they go, right? And there's mysterious cat's eye scrying orbs around the tower, which are kind of neat and uncomfortable and ominous. And it was sort of the first thing that this whole culture and everything and the scenes that are about to take place, there's two conflicting narratives that the movie kind of wants you to believe both, even though they're mutually exclusive. First is that the Cat King especially, and thus the rest of the kingdom, or at least the rest of the people who serve him, are coercive and manipulative and controlling and all trying to set things up to a very specific goal, namely Haru marrying the prince. And on the other side of things that this movie also must have you believe is that they just mean well and it's all a misunderstanding. And it needs you to believe both, but both can't be true. They oppose one another. So they arrive and Haru gets all dressed up, right? Meanwhile, Muda is taken to eat a bunch of food and Haru's like, oh fuck, I'm turning into a cat, and then goes to check on Muda, and they imply that Muda dies drowned in catnip jelly? Which, I don't know the tone they're going for here, right? Because look, it's not that I believe that he died in the catnip jelly, nor do I think most people will think that they die in the catnip jelly, but it's also not a moment played for laughs, and Haru is fucking devastated. Haru is like, oh my god, holy shit, he's dead. Like, she vocalizes her distress over the fact that as she sees it, he's fucking dead. But if that's the kind of movie this is, then a lot of it doesn't make fucking sense. No matter what interpretation you have. Oh my god. So, oh no, maybe Muda died in the catnip jelly. They have a big banquet. Haru is sad because she's being forced into an arranged marriage, and her new friend she just met, she thinks, oh fuck, they're dead, and they were the only ones protecting me. There's miscellaneous entertainment, and the king straight up executes 2 cats. One for fucking up their job, another one for laughing at a clown cat, basically. And I need to be 100%. He executes them.
Yeah.
This isn't...
Yeah, no.
It's not like, oh, well, it's kept mysterious, but it's implied he executed. No, he executes them. Executioners show up in the fucking hoods, and they toss them off the top of the castle. Right? So 2 fuckers die, which once again, after Muda has been implied to die, we can see, oh wow, it's presenting. And also like the cat's eye scrying orbs that are watching everything, and a random person who told them to run, get the fuck out. The fact that she's been kidnapped, being forced to marry, we're like, wow, this kingdom is super fucked. This is totalitarian and cruel. But also, the movie doesn't want you to feel like it's that heavy. Because I need to emphasize, the plot only makes sense if it is a very silly misunderstanding. So, a couple cats are executed, and just thrown to the wayside. Baron shows up disguised and dances with Haru. The king gets suspicious, sort of apropos of nothing. He just, I guess, the vibes are bad. And especially starting from around now, it's when it realizes we must push forward the plot, but also we don't have more plot, so we need to come up with something. So the king is suspicious, apropos of kind of nothing. Maybe it would have been nice if maybe the Baron's mask slipped a little bit. They were kind of talking, and maybe he overheard them, but if he overheard them, why didn't he overhear them previously? And it once again, it's a clumsy moment. The Baron unmasks, frees Muda, who is A-okay from the catnip jelly. The feminine cat, her name is Yuki. She arrives. She's ready to help. I don't really know what she does to help, but she's here to help. They escape. All right, they've escaped from the castle. Now all they need to do is get the fuck out of there, right? Well, no, because as it turns out, there's a great maze, and you must go through the maze, and then you must get to the center where there is a giant tower, and only at the top of the tower is a portal to the regular human world. None of this has been established.
No.
So it kind of just feels like you're like, all right, they escaped, cool. We do need to fill the runtime a little bit more. So what if there's a labyrinth? Oh, should we maybe foreshadow this labyrinth at all? Nah. Okay, with this labyrinth, should it be how should we handle it so that you can't just through some mischief, I don't know, the simplest thing, the easiest thing through this endlessly complicated labyrinth would be trying to climb up the wall, right? And if you can climb up the wall and just walk along the wall, well, there you go, then you've solved it. No, they can do that. And in fact, not only can they, Muda specifically does, but not to get a solution for the labyrinth or just to get on top and go straight to the tower, just to confuse some of the fucking king's guards. And then he goes back in the labyrinth with the others. But he was on top of the walls. There was a way out, and it's not that high. It's not that high at all. So they get through the labyrinth pretty easily. They get to the tower, start climbing up the tower. Oh, but there's more soldiers. Oh, but then they fall down because a piece of the stairwell crumbles, but our heroes are still able to get across it. It's genuinely not even an issue. So they keep climbing. They reach the second stage of the tower, but oh no, then the king blows up the tower, which apparently was an option this whole time. But it crumbles down, but it only crumbles down very safely so that the second half of the tower that our heroes just got to lands safely at the bottom, right? And so they're like, well, shit, now we're at the bottom. And there are stairs going up, but they're like, well, I guess we have to wait now for the baddies to catch up to us. The baddies pulled a trick, you see. So even though the stairs up are still fine, we can still get to the top of the tower, and the portal is still at the top of the tower, even though the tower is smaller, we must wait. We must wait for the baddies. So they wait for the baddies, and the baddies show up, and they're like, fuck, it's the baddies. They're here. And in that moment when things look really dire, even though they really shouldn't for our heroes, the prince arrives. The prince hasn't been here this whole time. He arrives and he hears about this whole marriage fiasco, and he's like, oh, but no, Dad, you don't understand. I'm going to be marrying Yuki, the feminine cat with the bow, obviously. And the king is like, oh, okay, my bad, I guess. And as it turns out, Yuki was the stray cat who Haru gave fish cookies long ago. She was that same kitten. But then the king, even though he's like, oh, okay, and he's like, all right, well, I guess she's just gonna marry me. Which now we're getting into creepy and fucked, because this guy, even though he's a cat, he's like fucking ancient. And Haru's like, no, but the king is still all in on this plan, so it can't be that innocent of a misunderstanding, because he's been told no. And also, why was it that important in the first place to try and marry the prince? Because it's not like they were like, oh, we must. Like, it's so much fantasy. So much fantasy has a convoluted reason why you need to get married in X amount of time, right? Or as I like to think of it, Santa Claus 2.
Yes.
Where they like, hey, they come up with a convoluted reason, but you're given that convoluted reason. You're like, okay, I understand why it's so important that he must find a Mrs. Claus. At no point do I know why it's so important that the prince gets married right now with such urgency to this random human who saved him, without ever asking the prince. And also the prince, I guess, never mentioned that he had imminent plans to marry Yuki, the feminine cat. That just, I guess, never came up. And also, this is tangential, but I guess the prince was out doing military service. He was out with a bunch of soldiers, right? So I guess he was just doing military service, and I don't want to open that can of worms. But I don't know why the plot is the way it is. So the king's like, oh, let's marry her. Haru's like, no. And then we learn that Muda, as it turns out, is Ronaldo Moon. Shaun, of course, Shaun, you know Ronaldo Moon. We all of us here, we know Ronaldo Moon.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been talking about Ronaldo Moon for about, 20, 30 minutes by now. He just keeps coming up. For those who may have missed it, Ronaldo Moon is within the cat lore. He's the great and terrible eater, right? He devoured a bunch of shit, and it was terrifying and terrible, and that is who Muda is. And if it sounds like it comes out of fucking nowhere, it's because it does, right? And here's the thing, it's kind of a Deus Ex Machina, because it's like, oh, all right, he has a secret identity as this folkloric badass, I guess, so he'll be able to help out significantly. But also, it's a Deus Ex Machina where I don't think there needed to be a Deus Ex Machina, because Haru, as she could have this whole time, is just gonna go up the stairs.
Yeah.
She's just gonna run up the stairs.
Yeah.
And she's gonna get to the portal.
Yeah.
Which she could have done this whole time. So it's the equivalent, take any story, right? Where it's like, oh man, what will our protagonist do? And then our protagonists, they find the solution, right? They figure out a way to escape the prison. And we see them create a device that will escape the prison. But then right before they use the device that they already have to escape the prison, the hand of God comes down and frees them from the prison. It's like, oh, not only is that kind of unsatisfying from a narrative, it was also wildly unnecessary, because I'm pretty confident they had it covered. I don't think we needed the Deus Ex Machina,
the
literal
hand of God, the literal God in the machine. Yeah, no, it's
like they didn't need a random plot point to show up helping them, because they were fine. So, the Baron embarrasses the king, Ronaldo Moon throws around some soldiers, Haru escapes, but now is due to some stupid reasons that are poorly explained, and once again just sort of suddenly thrown upon you in this moment. The portal is super high in the sky. It's implied that because the tower was destroyed, the portal isn't where it's supposed to be, and it's high in the sky, and it sort of has the top of the tower on it, even from the other side. So you might think, so if the tower didn't get destroyed, would there be a tower under her? In which case, that's not much better. You're still trapped on the outside of a giant tower. Or was it supposed to be somewhere else, but somehow a tower half crumbling down made it shoot into the sky somehow? Who knows? fuck you. Haru starts to lose her balance. Muda shows up, grabs her, but he can only hold on to her for so long. The Baron joins them, not really in a helpful way, just sort of is like, hey, I guess if you're falling to your death, I will too. And then a flock of birds with the one raven shows up. And she's able to walk across these endless ravens back to school, which is a kind of cool visual, but also, what the fuck are we doing? And she gets there, and when they get there, right, the gang, they're just like, man, what an adventure. And Haru turns to the Baron and is like, hey, Baron, you know what? I think I have a crush on you. And then the Baron, and this is 100% true, says, thanks for being honest. All right, bye. Wait, he is like an adult magical cat, so that it's good. Don't date teenagers. As a good rule of thumb there. That is just objectively hilarious for him just to be like, I appreciate that you're being honest. See ya.
Later.
That's a devastating way to be rejected. I really like you. Oh, cool. Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta head out now.
That feels like a very you-coded situation, Rem.
I would be more tactful, all right? I would be way more tactful while having the same basic principle there. So, yeah, a lot happens in this, but it feels very much like a 6-year-old telling you a story they made up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like, and then this happens, and then they do this, and then this happens, and then and it just keeps going like that. It just keeps going like that. Nothing is justified or developed or foreshadowed, and also nothing is particularly interesting. Nothing is particularly compelling. The characters aren't very interesting. The plot points aren't very interesting. Even this fantastical cat world. Well, first of all, they're not very cat-like, right? They just happen to be cats. They very much just happen to be cats. They don't have any fun with it whatsoever. The closest to fun they have with it is when they give Haru cat stuff. But that's it. Which is very disappointing. Other than that, it is the most generic fantasy world you have ever seen in your fucking life.
I can hear the parentheses derogatory in that statement.
Yes, because look, there's so much generic fantasy slop out there, all right? You gotta do something more to it. And Studio Ghibli is often able to add those levels of whimsy and creativity to it, right? Where you're like, oh man, that's a weird and strange, and I never would have thought of something like that, whether it works or not. I had a lot of faults for Spirited Away, but it at least had a lot of creativity within the sort of world it was crafting. This bland, generic slop, and so it's got nothing. It's this fucking trash, dude. It has some moments that almost kind of work, but they're few and they are fleeting, wildly disappointing. This truly is the movie I was terrified of Whisper of the Heart turning into when the Baron started being an active figure in the plot. And Whisper of the Heart avoided that, which makes sense. They just put it here. Jesus, so this was supposed to be a short film?
Oh yeah, it was meant to be a 20-minute project for a theme park, and then eventually that project got canceled, and then it eventually got extended to a full-length hour, 15-minute film.
Yeah, theme park to short film to big film. Look, it doesn't have enough. It doesn't have enough to be a full feature length. It doesn't at all.
Yeah,
it struggles to fill the time so fucking much, and that is felt. And once again, it could at least, I wish I could at least be like, all right, the plot is trash, the characters are pretty boring, but hey, the world is so whimsical and imaginative, but it's just not really. It's just not. The whole thing is just, yeah, and then they're cats. And you're like, okay. It's like, okay, so in the banquet halls, there are all sorts of like varieties of cat cuisine. And you're like, nope, they're regular foods, but that giant pitcher of jelly we say is catnip jelly. So there you go.
God, imagine a whole ass human falling into like a weed jelly.
I mean, that would be, especially if you go in like face first and you're trapped and you can't like turn yourself around. That would be hell.
Yeah.
That would be a terrible way to die.
Yeah. So it's yeah, and I will say it did also get a manga adaptation by the original author of Whisper of the Heart, but it's not much better. It's 3 like 100-page chapters, and it's like real bad as well. It's like it's all the same stuff, just in the author's original style, with a few like changes here and there. But hey, there's one thing about this movie that's fantastic, Rem.
Yeah, all right, let's hear it.
And you probably didn't get to experience it because you watched it in Japanese.
Yeah.
And then that's that the king is voiced by Tim Curry.
That would have at least, brought some joy. That seems like it would be a bit of fun.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Tim Curry. No matter what he's in, whether it's good or bad, him existing in it usually makes it a bit of fun. It's kind of like how in Home Alone 2, he was one of the best characters, and also that Home Alone 2 featured one of the worst people. So that's just how the world works sometimes.
He was in Home Alone 2?
Yeah, he's the butler at the fancy hotel in Home Alone 2.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Because he talks about cheese pizza and the way he does,
Yeah.
And yes, that did stick with me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, A Cat Returns, it's kind of just ass on all fronts. And even, like, it'd be so lovely if it was just a whimsical, adventurous romp, and I'd be like, all right, I'd show up and I'd be like, look, Ghibli tried to do plot again, and so it can't be great, but hey, at least it had good whimsy or shit like that. But it doesn't even have that. I can't even be like, it was very pretty, but no, I don't have many compliments to give. Like I should for the bare minimum of any other Studio Ghibli thing. Something went wrong here, fellas. Something went awry.
It's almost like they started the 20-minute project and then they got canceled. Like, well, shit, what are we gonna do with this? Make more. Turn it into a full thing.
Oh, God. What a mistake. What a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake. And also, how they massacred my beautiful boy, Moon. Oh,
like I said,
Whisper of the Heart Moon is so much better than Cat Returns Moon.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, the original story, right, was a Miyazaki written film, I believe. I don't think he directed it. I think he was like the main producer, storyboard artist and whatnot. But this film in particular was the only thing in like common it has is like one of the producers, and that's about it. And as we all know, producers, while they are important, thanks Dylan, do not always make a whole story their own.
Yeah.
And like, it's a little weird when the manga is made in response to like the idea of the project and the artist does their best, but like by and large it is just kind of a weird mishmash of a film that didn't really need to exist, but hey man, it did, because like if I remember correctly, the productions for it started in 1999 for a theme park. And then eventually, that got canceled. It got pushed back and then eventually came out in 2002. And at the time, what was Ghibli doing? They were working on Spirited Away. Which kind of puts things in perspective a little bit, doesn't it?
Yep.
Because, genuinely, it goes... The chronological flow is you got Whispers of the Heart, then a bunch of other films, then Spirited Away, and then I believe 2 years later is when The Cat Return comes out.
Look, it's clear where they had their A-team working, all right? I say this, once again, not even as a huge fan of Spirited Away, but my God, the difference is plain.
Yeah. Bouncing between also... Mononoke and Spirited Away. It's, and then after this, right after this one, the next major Ghibli film that comes out is Howl's Moving Castle, which you hate, but a lot of people love and adore.
Yeah.
So this is a weird middle project from the B team.
I think it'd make a lot of sense, and I'm sure there's a lot of sort of like headcanon that The Cat Returns is like a story written by Shizuku, the protagonist of Whisper of the Heart, right?
But if that's the case, she's a shit author.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. If genuinely, like, if I were to accept that within my canon, it would detract to my enjoyment of Whisper of the Heart, because instead of feeling optimistic and hopeful for her and being like, yeah, you're hardworking and you just got to keep polishing it, I'd be like, oh no, you shouldn't be doing this. You should find You are way too confident in the direction you're pursuing. You need to find something else.
Get an office
honey.
job. Like, come on.
Yeah, because writing, not for you if this is it.
And hilarious.
Oh man!
If they intended that, if that was the intention from the start, and they wanted to make it like a story spin-off successor type of thing, they could have been great. But genuinely, I think it was just they're like, hey, this cat character from this film that wasn't really all that fantastical. Why don't we use it as part of an amusement park attraction? And then they're like, well, hey, maybe it could actually be a whole movie. Like it's very much started a project, some bad shit happened, and then they proceeded with the project to try and salvage what they can. Because I mean, like, just because we think it's awful doesn't mean that people didn't put their hearts and souls into making it.
Yeah, look, hey, lots of talented people can contribute to making something shit.
How do you feel about our podcast, Rem? Out of curiosity. Complete tangent, of course, as we're known to do.
Lots of talentless hacks can work on making something okay.
Oh, God. But, we know what you think about this film, Rem. What do you think the weebs think about The Cat Returns?
All right, they're riding on nostalgia, all right? They're riding on nostalgia, and also, I've said it before, that a lot of times they're riding vibes, and those two combined are rough, because then you're like, oh yeah, the vibes that I remember from my nostalgic brain, and then you're imagining that the show was up to that standard. Yeah. At the same time, I think that, especially because visually it's obvious that it doesn't hold a candle to other Studio Ghibli stuff, and because it's like so visually apparent instead of just narratively apparent as well, I think that will be a downgrade. I think we're looking at, I don't think it's going to be above an 8. I think it's going to be in the high 7s. The high 7s is where I'm feeling. So I'm going to go 7.82.
Is that your final answer?
I think so. I think just like high 7s. Some people like don't vibe with it, but then even they need to pay some lip service to their nostalgia, where they're like, oh, it's not one of my favorite Ghibli films, but it's still a really good movie. Which it's not. It's just not. I'm sorry. It's not. Don't let your nostalgia fool you. And if you disagree, I will not accept any disagreement unless you have watched it in the past calendar year. All right? If you're like, oh, last time I watched it 15 years ago, I loved it. No, shut the fuck up. All right, your nostalgia is speaking for you. Of little child, you isn't here to argue with me. All right, you need to make a well-informed opinion. Watch it again,
and don't misconstrue anything. Remington would in fact argue with a child.
Look, if you're a child, first of all, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast. But if you're a child and you show up to me and you're like, man, Cat Returns is so good, I'm gonna try to be tactful, but I'm going to be a little bit more Socratic with it. But I'm gonna be asking that child, what did you like about it? Oh yeah, why was that good? Why why do you have the opinion you do? What did you think about these elements? I'm not above doing that to a child.
Ruin them while they're young, I see.
If I teach them to not accept sawdust when they are young, then perhaps the next generation can decide not to tolerate bad media nearly to the same extent as every other generation does.
All right. Well, Rem, with 185,000 rankings, Nekogo Onaga Eishi, or The Cat Returns, sitting nice and pretty at 7.71.
Okay, all right. Once again, I was in the ballpark, so I'm happy. I was in the ballpark.
Yeah, like it's
just shy of the 0.1 that I like to be in, but very.
Yeah,
I was there.
It's one of your bigger gaps in recent times, I would say.
But overall, I'm pretty pleased with how I'm able to assess most anime by weeb standards.
Yeah.
While I disagree vehemently with the weebs, I got a pretty good idea usually of what they think.
Yeah, and generally speaking, to put some perspective in it, the non-weebs, out of curiosity, I pulled up like Rotten Tomatoes ranked list of Ghibli films, and they don't have all of like the little random smaller projects, of course. But I will say The Cat Returns is number 20 out of 24. So
yeah, checks out.
Yeah, and let me just tell you,
I would round up The Cat Returns to a 3 out of 10. It would round up to a 3 out of 10, I think.
In your perspective, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah. And would you believe if I told you it's nowhere near the worst Ghibli film?
There's gotta be like one or two Ghibli films where they were like, oh, fuck. Where like everybody universally looks at it and is like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
There's gotta be a small handful in that category.
There are two that come to mind.
Yep, yeah, there we go.
One from 2006 and one from 2020.
Oh.
And we'll cover those in the future. Don't worry. I've been saving them for a rainy day, per se, when I want to feel sad, because one of them is an adaptation of a fantasy book series, but the whole series condensed into a single film. And the other one, I don't know what the fuck happened with the other one. Like that. Some weird fucked shit happened with the other one. But that's here now. So I guess the final question is, Rem, any chance you'd want to watch The Cat Returns again, or would you rather just go back watch Whisper of the Heart a second time?
We gotta go back, baby. Give me the real Moon, all right? Not this fucking Ronaldo bullshit.
Not this destruction deity of cats.
I don't know why. I don't know where the fuck that came from. I don't know why they decided to introduce it. It doesn't serve the plot. It comes out of nowhere. It doesn't even change, like, what he does. It just, like, I guess it frightens the soldiers momentarily.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking when making this. I don't get it.
I feel like desperation was definitely a factor.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed Remington getting to see exactly what he predicted would be awful in a film from a film he loves, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcast and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if that is not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/anime out of context, where myself, Dylan, and Remington occasionally play video games very poorly. And that if it's still not enough for you, patreon.com/anime out of context, where you gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who we thinking this week?
As always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are arranging a forced marriage in a hyper-authoritarian state, where they execute people on a whim, but don't worry, it's just a silly misunderstanding. And on that list we have...
I do have to specify, you do see that cat that gets thrown out of the window in the background after he gets thrown out of the window, because cats always land on their feet.
I think one of them bounces off the fucking tower.
Yeah, well, hey, they're fine. Don't worry about it.
They're thrown out by cats with executioner ropes.
It's true.
And also, how do you know they're the same fucking cats? Because all the fucking cats look the fucking same. Because for some reason, they decided that they all should look the same. They're not visually distinct enough to know.
Now, if one of them sounded like Tim Curry, that would really help.
Then we would know! When we start with, yo, Dylan's Alton Brown cameo blew my ass, tits, and balls off. I need more advice. What the fuck? Dylan, I don't know how to parse that. I assume you do. Yandere Neko, Wolfire 56, where's our DBZ review, you ginger fuck? What if there's been a big Dylan block of horny Patreon names, and he just edits it out, basically finally realizes, nah, he'd revel in it. Wes Kane watching those horses, go Super Saiyan. Week 25 of using my Patreon name to request code Geese. Watching Requiem for Spoon Man at 0.5 speed. Totally good. Titan CNH. The Susannator. The Danish Viking will conquer the world with Renor Zoro as my navigator. That time I reincarnated as a podcast host and forced to weeb. Turban. Swash Verdi. Super Zoo. Stacy's mom. Sparsy. Sean wants to give Spoon Man a thank and yank. Sean do Space Dandy, and I'll stop saying Rem was right. Sean's new podcast with Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson. Oh, God.
I would kill
Nightmare
myself.
Fucking blunt rotation.
I would die. It would be the end.
Well, and unfortunately, that would just boost the numbers for their podcast then. And that just... Oh,
so
man.
I have to kill them instead. That's what you're saying.
I guess what Sean's saying is he's willing to sacrifice his life if it means that Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson get higher listenership, which I disavow, but look. Sean ruined my happy sugar life when he became the world's best fiddler, diddler, and riddler all at once. Sean, quit sitting with my grandma, please. Sean, I'm down 10 pounds from fitness challenge, but long hours at work make me not want to go to the gym. Give motivation, you fuck. Come on, Sean. They're asking for it.
Go to the gym, please.
Oh, how motivating. Sean blocked my cock. Seraphim the Shark plushie. Ryan Moody. Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams, Remington is right. Remind me, when do we record again? Rem, we the people want you to talk more about Red Pill Rollins in the main parts of the episode. The Discord poll proves it. Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weaves from bad anime. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Red Pill Rollins stealing trans Shaun's estrogen. Red Venom. Red Pill Rollins for sharecropping. Professor Fox, pro tips out of context has run out of things to post. We'll come back soon. Oh no, I fell asleep on toxic mushrooms. My Little Horse Rem, My Little Horse Rem. Macaroni Uchiha. Lucky Stars, The King of Moe. Link Joe Curl. The Nerd 98. King Rich Rock. Cassidy. Jax. Jam Hands. Jake Dent. I'm selling Omega Shaun milk to make rent. I'm making Rem call Shaun ethnic slurs until you bring back the chef and a musketeer. You, and then we just quickly, you bog trotter. And that's specifically attacking you as an Irishman.
Oh. I mean, huh.
But also, it does sound, if I'm in love with you, sounds kind of cool.
like a hip dance, really.
It sounds like if the Harlem Globetrotters were transformed into frogs, but they still played basketball.
There's nothing in the rules that say frogs can't play basketball.
It'd be kind of dope.
Or call them old school Irish slurs,
I showed my grandma and Shirley and she watched it all by herself. Did I turn her into a weep? I might be a cute little alien octopus pie? I don't know what you're going with. I can't believe I made an account for this. Oh, no. Okay, no, I can't figure it out. I can't believe I made an account for this. How romantically available is your mom? God. Glenn Michael Dolan. G Bottom aka Bear Trap. Sorry for not changing the name. But new plan. I think I need to Batman my town. Fern the Fern. Farmer Weave's Rem choice of the week. Be a bland bitch protagonist parent or be the bland bitch protagonist's best friend. I'm gonna be their best friend because if I'm their parent, I'm gonna die. If I'm their best friend, I probably just won't be that relevant in their life ever, so I can do my own shit. Fantide, Europe fact of the week, French isn't a real language. Estrogen helps reverse hair loss, Erica McCorkle. That's all, folks. Dylan Appreciation Day, Danielle Riot. Daddy Rum told me a bedtime story about Shaun's nut. Keldarius. Could have seen highly requested Made in Abyss, but Shaun gave us Gotcha Kuda. I know. This motherfucker. This fucking guy.
Gotta be relevant. Do you know how many people immediately requested that the second episode 1 dropped?
Cheese Monkey, Rock Hard for Jew Dudes, why are you buying clothes at the soup store? Boring Siren, Blarf, Bendokato, Bakushin, Anime, Amazing Muffin, Aisha Gudgy, a Moe piece of trash, You're Friendly. Oh wait, and now we move on to Boy Wizard Tier. What are they gonna get this week, Shaun?
God, cats seems like the obvious thing. Do I just do the cats but from bottom up rather than top down?
It is an option.
I think that's the option because let's be reasonable. Remington was disappointed by this film, so why should I go to the extra effort?
Yeah, there we go. Your friendly neighborhood commie.
Give me a second.
You need to get your story straight.
There we go. They can have a York chocolate.
Umbrasite.
Ukrainian Levkoi.
Truckcoon operator number 42.
Turkish Vankadisi.
Titaro is really pushing for one of you to go on estrogen.
Turkish Angora.
That mouse girl.
Toiger?
Tails Williams.
Oh, I get it, because it's a combination of Bengal and short hair, so it's not a tiger, it's a toiger.
Oh, I see.
Toy Bob.
Spoonman the Aristocrat.
Tonkinese?
Silent
Burmese
secondary.
and Siamese, I see. Thai Lilac.
Shaun X Dillon Fan Club meets in the big hole today.
Thai.
Sammy K is here to remind you that you just lost the game.
Sufalak.
Roscoe.
Sphinx.
Rem still needs to watch Mandori Tamaiko and Ave Muchka, or else Kasumi will keep singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Somali.
Powersol waits for Crumpslut's Bakery to reopen and try the Red Pill Rollins gingerbread cookies with MAGA gumdrop buttons.
Disgusting. Sokoke.
Nurikaza #SONR soaking one nut Rollins.
Snowshoe.
Monogatari is everything you ever said you want in anime. This week, are we watching the freaking Watanare or not?
Singapura.
Mike.
Siberian.
Miguel DeLeon.
Siamese.
I'd like to start a petition to replace the word brat with Kudere.
Serengeti.
Hidden Otaku.
Selkirk Rex.
Domini Trigon is better than anything Remington has ever watched after episode 7. Shaun, watch it for fun. Lots of drunk.
Scottish Fold.
Carver 271.
Savannah.
Beethoven 1201.
Sam Sawet.
Allfather forgot to change his name for a month. Oops.
Russian White.
The way you said that really made it seem like there was going to be a third word.
Well, apparently it's because on the list it's Russian White, Russian Black, and Russian Tabby, and I was like, oh, they're just all the same cat, but just they named it on the color for whatever reason, and I was just like, I can't be arsed.
And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun, as Joey Wheeler, will, oh god, everything is so generic about this. He'll give you a blessing from the cats, and I, as Joey Wheeler, will give you a cat spouse. Yes, we have. I haven't been on top of things lately, but Shaun, I'd gladly change that to be on top of you.
Okay. Your blessing from the cats is, a heaping pile of catnip jelly.
That is your dowry as you marry good old Garfield. Next we got follow anime out of context on Blue Sky. Shaun, what's your Venmo? I'll pay to show Code Geass Season 1 Ubauk. And then also on the Blue Sky, they're both shouting out and calling out my YouTube for I've not been consistent with videos. And that is because editing is fucking hard. I've multiple scripts well researched at the ready. It's just that editing is fucking hell. And I am currently trying to learn how to streamline that process so that maybe it'll be less hell in the future. But learning requires a big gap of me not editing for the actual videos. It's unfortunate. And then Lord knows I can't afford a proper editor. Don't be silly. So that's the explanation. But I have multiple videos coming.
It's okay. I know you want to be the next H-Bomber guy.
I need to be more consistent at first if that's my goal, unfortunately. You gotta be consistent, get an audience with your consistency and strong research, and then you're able, once you've established an audience, decide, all right, I'm gonna do insane deep dives that require an entire year. What cat blessing are they getting, Shaun?
They're gonna get just the loveliest big ball of yarn.
And congratulations, you are gonna be set up with Puss in Boots. Last but not least, we have Don't Jerk will arrive in 3 days.
Ominous. You can have, one of those fish, that have a little motor in them and they just kind of flap around. Yeah, I'm sure cats love those. Yeah.
Sure. And you are gonna get cat dog, but bisected, so just the cat side.
Jesus Christ.
Just the cat side of cat.
What the fuck?
If I wasn't getting ready to leave for my vacation in like 6 hours, I would do a silly little edit of the cat dog theme, but remove dog, so it would just be cat.
Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can send an email over to animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate you very, very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do.